So a few days ago, I was watching this video in which this man interviews this other man at a flight sim expo. And the person that is being interviewed is Xavier, which is the creator and main developer of Geofs. And on this video, he says this.
So, well, this year I've been running the next version, which is going to come out in a few days.
He says that the next version of Geofs is coming out in a few days. And I watched this video about 3 days ago, and it was uploaded 8 days ago. And a few hours later, after watching that video, I see this announcement on the GFS Events Discord server with a screenshot of what seems to be an official GFS Instagram post, which says that the 4.0 beta has been released in GFS. And here it lists all of the new features that it has. Now, I've actually already checked the 4.0 beta, and that's because I've already recorded a different video, but the problem is that the final footage was extremely laggy and the audio was glitched. Like, it was literally at 1 frame per minute. And I wish I was joking, but I'm simply not joking. So I'm just remaking this video again 2 days later. So despite the fact that I've already checked the update and I know everything that's on it, I just want to show it to you all. And well, there's some things that work and some other things that don't really work that much. So the first feature that is talked about on the post is updated 3D buildings. But I highly doubt that is actually true because on the last few days when I've gone on GFS, the buildings don't look very different to me. You see, in the previous versions of GFS, buildings didn't look like what they actually look like in real life. Instead, their exterior texture was actually a random texture from a database that might look similar to what the building actually looks like, but it did not look like what the building actually looks like in real life. Okay, I accidentally went onto the current 3.9 version, so let me just go into the new 4.0 beta for a moment to show you that the buildings look the same. So now we are in the new 4.0 beta version. I want you to look at this building right here. So as you can see, the buildings still use those textures from a database, but they just use different textures now. So just take a look at this building. This is what it looks like in 4.0, and this is what it looks like in real life. And over here, I have a screenshot of what it looked like in the 3.9 version. You notice that the texture is different, and the new one looks kind of more like the new texture in real life. It's not exactly as what it looks like in real life, of course, but it's better than nothing, to be honest. Okay, next is the new navigation map, which I think you've already noticed it since I've had it open. So in general, it looks better, but something that I still don't like is that you can't fully zoom in. So this is the most I can zoom in. I'm literally trying to zoom in right now, but I can zoom in more. And in the previous versions, you could only zoom in this much. So I I would really like for GFS to change them up so that you can zoom in more. Because sometimes I'm trying to click on a very specific point on the map, like somewhere on a taxiway in an airport, but I just can't because I can't zoom in properly. So they definitely need to change that. Next, there's the updated Cesium.js version. So that is the scenery and not this AI generated scenery, but it's actually this scenery which is the free scenery, and it used to be the only free scenery for a while until they added the new AI improved scenery. And apparently, this is supposed to be improved scenery, but I'm not sure if anyone's gonna notice because it's just as low quality as before. It would be much better, however, if they improved the high quality scenery, which you have to pay 10 euros a year for. And for some reason, I can't see it on the new version because even though I'm logged in and I have paid for the new scenery, I just can't use it. It just tells me to subscribe, but I still have some time left on my high definition scenery subscription. So that's probably just a glitch. Next, we have the GPWS alarms and callouts, and this used to be available on an add-on, but now it's fully integrated in the flight sim so that you don't need an add-on. For example, here's a landing with the new GPWS callouts. The next feature is aircraft night lighting, which, if you don't know what that is, I will show you. So for this, like the name suggests, it needs to be nighttime. So we are going to change the time so that it is nighttime. And then we look at the aircraft and the windows are light up. So as you can see, they just have light in them. And well, the aircraft look more visible than in the previous version. So this is what it looks like on the 3.9 version, and you cannot see the aircraft. You can only see the lights on the wingtips. But now, in the new version, you can see the aircraft better, and also there's light coming out from the windows, which is a really nice feature. Then there's one of the most important, in my opinion, one of the most important features of the new update, and that is the new Cessna 152. So there actually used to be a Cessna 152 in the game, but the problem is it was known as one of the buggiest and glitchiest planes in GFS because it was one of the first aircraft that was added to GFS. But now it looks much more well made, similar to the current Cessna 172 that we have. It is very similar to the Cessna 172. The only main physical difference is that it has two seats. Um, well, it's not really loaded, but yeah, it has two seats instead of four seats, and also it has this different livery. Now, for the next feature, we have to go to the sea because this one is about the water. So there's basically new water reflections. So now it actually looks like water. It doesn't look like just blue ground. It looks actually like water. It actually doesn't reflect the aircraft. I've actually checked that. It just reflects the sky, but it would be really cool if they also reflected the aircraft. I'll show you once we descend. Okay, now that we're closer to the water, we can see the reflections more closely, and the aircraft is not getting reflected on the water, unfortunately, which is strange because I don't know if I'm tripping, but I think I saw photos of the aircraft being reflected in the water from the GFS update. I don't know if they actually exist, but if they do exist, I'll show them right here. And other than that, I actually like the reflection because it makes it look like water. However, they actually haven't changed the physics. They look, at least to me, they look just the same. So I'm gonna try landing in water, and the physics look the the same as before. See, there's just this crappy thing. Now for the next feature, we have to make it nighttime again. And these are new city lights. For some reason, I forgot that the buildings already had lights on them because I just never fly on during the night in GFS. But they're talking here about new city lights. I don't know what exactly they mean by that. However, what I'm noticing is that in the old version, you have like these lights on the ground, but in the 4.0 beta, you don't have any lights. But that's not it because I've also noticed what they said about changing the buildings. If you go here, this is the center of Valencia, and if you look at it, the buildings look just flat. And this is the old version, uh, remember, and this is the new version. Now the town center is what's right there ahead of us, and it actually looks like buildings. It doesn't look like flat. I don't know what to call them. Just flat buildings, I guess. They look like they actually have some volume, and that's great. It's more realistic. Now the next thing that we have is separate engine controls. So if we go to the controls and the keyboard, now we can see that we have different keys to control the different engines. Now we still, of course, have keys to control the two engines at once, but if we want to control them separately, we can do that. So first, I think I'm gonna change them so that I can use keys that I actually have in my computer, because some of these keys I actually don't have them in my laptop. Okay, so I've made a change to some of my settings, and now if I do this, that's increasing my right engine's thrust, and as you can see, we are moving but we're turning towards one direction, and that's because we have a lot of thrust in one engine but not on the other. And this can be used to simulate some situations, because there's some situations, for example, the hydraulics don't work, and you can use the engines to make the plane turn because the hydraulics don't work. So you can't use the ailerons or the stabilizers to make the plane turn. No, you have to use the engines. Although that's only if in the case of an emergency. And of course, these kinds of emergencies don't happen in GFS, but they can happen in real life. And of course, we can control engines separately in real life. So why not have it in GFS too? Now we also have spoiler arming, uh, which I actually don't know much about. You can call me stupid, but I don't know what arming a spoiler means, so I'm not really going to talk much about that. Now, next, it says that they have reworked the legacy aircraft, which is literally just the same thing that they've done to the Cessna 152. So, for example, let's load this new helicopter, which I think it's also on the old version, and this is what it looks like. It seems to be just as glitchy as this old Cessna 152. It looks like a box. It looks made out of cardboard. But this actually looks like something that's flyable. And of course, it's much detailed. And of course, because of these new features, there's new settings in the options. So we've already seen that we can change the keys for increasing the or decreasing the throttle for each specific engine. But of course, we also have settings to enable or disable the GPWS callouts and the alarms. We can turn on or turn off the water reflections and the night city lights. Oh wait, I'm stupid. That's why I didn't see the city lights, because it was turned off. Oh, okay. Okay, my bad, my bad. Let's see the night city light. So let's go again to the city center. We're gonna pause, and we change the time to night time. It seems to me that this is just the ground lights. Yeah, because those ground lights weren't there before, but now they are. And well, it's just the same ground lights that were in the old version, but maybe they're improved. I don't know, because if they were already in the previous version, why would they say that they added it in the new version? So they have to be improved, right? So just to compare it, let me turn them off to see what it looks like. And yeah, it just turns off the light bulbs in the ground. And the last feature that they've added is, wait for it, an AI copilot, but you can't really talk to it. Well, apparently it has speech recognition, although, wait, I think I'm just supposed to talk to it, I guess. But, I don't really want to try that to now. I just don't want to speak to an AI. And also, I've listened to its voice, and it doesn't look like a human. It looks like a robot that is having a seizure or something. It sounds really deep. Although maybe it's because I have selected the wrong voice. I mean, this is the default voice, and yeah, this is, I don't know what to think, but to me this is kind of an excessive amount of voices just for this flight simulator that only gets used by like 1,000 people at once, and most of them probably won't even use this copilot, because what do you need this for? Well, apparently it reads your instrument value, so it reads out loud your altitude, your speed, your heading. so that you just don't have to look at this. But I don't know if someone is gonna find it useful. If you find it useful for yourself, that's okay. But me personally, I'm not gonna use it because, well, I just don't need to use it. And well, that is pretty much everything that they've added. Well, or at least what they say here that they've added, other than some bugs, of course. They've probably made some bugs. But something that I don't know if you have noticed, but I've noticed it, is that they have slightly changed the models of all the aircraft. So this is what an A350 looks like on the new 4.0 version. And this is what it looks like in the old version. Now it looks slightly different, don't you think? Here it looks like I don't know exactly how to describe it, but it looks kind of metallic. Um, to me, it never looked like a real A350, but this just feels kind of smoother and more realistic to me. And also, you have these new settings called PBR shaders, which if you turn it off, first of all, let me show it to you without shaders. So it just looks like a normal shadow, but with shaders, now it looks like these shadows are kind of more realistic and it makes the plane look more shiny, I guess, and better looking. That's I don't know, that's how I can describe it. But well, it just changes the setting basically. Anyway, so that is every single new feature that is available on the new 4.0 version in GFS. Now remember, this is the beta version. It's not going to be the final 4.0 version because this still has some bugs. Um, there's some features that they haven't talked about. For example, they say that they have some instrument and map export, but it says it's postponed, so they haven't added it yet. Maybe because it's just experimental and it has many bugs. So far it's looking mostly great, but when the full version is released that probably has less bugs, hopefully, then it's gonna be much better, definitely. So I hope you enjoyed this video. This is my first GFS video in a while, by the way. Sorry for procrastinating too much. Don't worry because I'm gonna make a few GFS videos soon. Before ending the video, you have to subscribe and like this video, and you have to join my Discord server because it's pretty empty, which is really sad because you have many text channels here for all kinds of people. And I also do events occasionally, but no one joins. So that's why I'm sad because no one joins my events. But anyways, I hope you have a great day and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.